So I'd like to say that it is a great honor and pleasure to interview Mr. Sadhguru here because we met once, it was in November, back in November, when Sberbank was holding a special session and Mr. Sadhguru was a part of it, and it was my birthday and I approached Mr. Sadhguru and just said that I would stay with you because you are one of the most wise, ironic people, and it was not accidental that Mr. Graf asked you to participate in this session, being your guy, to talk about economic challenges, because you have a wonderful sense of humor and you have a very wide range of knowledge in many aspects, and you can give examples of many useful cases for young people, for ambitious people who are gathered today here with us.
Then the first question. How do you feel about large-scale events such as St. Petersburg International Economic Forum and the International Economic Forum in Davos? Organizers always gather many people under the same banner, which is to exchange information, experience and opinions. How successful are such forums in your point of view, and what is your assessment of this year's event so far?
Essentially, these events, it is not that everything is going to be transformed because of these events, but these few events in the world are the only places where the economic leaders meet in one place. In their day-to-day operations, they're all competitors. They're in many ways working against each other. When we work against each other, human resource, the planet's resources, everything is wasted. So this confluence of business leaders is a tremendous possibility that we could work together rather than against each other. I'm not talking about cooperation, I'm talking about competition being complementary to each other. So I've seen this happening in the last 20 years, particularly with the World Economic Forum, and there is no other place on the planet where that many business leaders who literally control 80% of the world's economy are meeting in one place for 4 days. I think it's a tremendous opportunity. As you saw here yesterday, in a polarizing world today where certain things which kind of isolates Russia is happening in the world. You saw yesterday European leaders coming and reaching out and making partnerships, which I think is very positive. It's very important that we understand with the technologies and the capabilities that we hold as a generation of people, the only way to work is together. Because this is not a time of using a stick or a sword, this is a time when we're empowered to either make the world or destroy the world. So this time, this generation and future generations, the only way to work is together. Well, in business we may be in competition, as nations we may be in competition, but still we need to understand even our competition needs to be complementary to each other, it cannot be confrontational to each other. This is something that these kind of forums bring home, when you actually meet the real people, the people that you were competing with, people that you thought were your enemies. When you actually meet them, you find they're as human as you are. And this is what I've been telling a few people yesterday who are part of the speak, that one thing that you should have done is the international media should have been here in a big way. I don't even see the Indian media here. Because
I have seen Chinese.
Few, but I don't know to what extent the Chinese are here. But largely it's not covered in the world. Because I want you to understand this, I'm not saying this with any negativity. If you utter the word Russia, not in India but in the rest of the world, if you utter the word Russia, people think it's some Siberian cold, dreadful place that nobody wants to go to. People should see Russia like this, it's very important. That there are wonderful people, smiling, happy people. It's very important to see this because our idea of Russian psyche is Dostoevsky. Okay? We think all of them are sad and miserable people, and they are all in some cold, frozen place. This is the idea. This perception has to change for people to collaborate and become partners with you. So I wish the next time around, international media from each nation, you must have media which covers and projects Russia to the rest of the world. It's very, very important, because we have reached a point of time in technology and in the general atmosphere in the world, we cannot leave out any part of the world and grow. It's very important everybody is involved, and Russia must be involved.
Shortly, I mentioned that it's very interesting that you told about Dostoevsky and the opinion that people has founded by Dostoevsky's books, because it's not enough today. Russian literature makes a big influence on world, and it's still felt. But it's not enough today, because when we're living in the world where social media works,
Yeah.
TV works, we need much more attention to our country from
Perception, world's perception is important. And right now the world's perception of Russia is not very positive. People like you, all of you young faces, should change that.
Да, дело в том, что вся проблема – это восприятие. Восприятие России сейчас далеко не позитивно в мире, и молодое поколение должно получать более реальное восприятие вашей страны.
I will say wonderful things about Russia back and home and wherever I go.
At your lectures, you often mention and deride the notion of the stress. That's an important part of conversation. But we are well aware that stress can prevent even a good athlete from performing. And I think that in the modern world it's very important to ask yourself, is it really possible to fight with this?
See, it's like this. What you call a stress is one kind of chemistry in the system. Yes? There's a chemical basis to your stress. What you call as anxiety is another kind of chemistry. What you call as misery is another kind of chemistry. Joy is another kind of chemistry. Blissfulness, another kind of chemistry. Ecstasy, one kind of chemistry. Agony, another kind of chemistry. Or in other words, all human experience is a certain kind of chemical change. Or in other words, you are a chemical soup right now. The question is only, are you a great soup or a lousy soup? Now, if I give soup-making material, same ingredients to 10 people here, you think these 10 people will make the same kind of soup? One soup will taste wonderful, another will taste lousy, another okay, another impossible to eat. The same thing with all of us. We all have the same ingredients. Some have made a wonderful soup, some have made a lousy soup. So my work is just this, to teach you a simple methodology with which you can create the right kind of chemistry. A chemistry that is joyful by its own nature. So if your very chemistry is joyful, what is outside situation going to do to you? You will handle it to the best of your capability, that's all. Any given situation, we can handle it to the best of our capability. How I handle a situation, maybe you cannot handle it that way. How you handle another situation, I may not be able to handle it that way. That is individual capability. So what we do on the outside, whatever we do on the outside, it will never be 100% the way you want it. But what you do on the inside must happen 100% your way. If your inside is not happening 100% your way, it simply means this phenomenal human mechanism, this is the most sophisticated machine on the planet. Problem is you have not read the user's manual, that's the whole problem.
Sadhguru, I remember once you told a story about one man who came to you and told you that he had a stress, and then you offered him to join you in your place and lived there alone. And only one thing that you offered him, that you will come every day and ask him, how are you? Are you happy? You remember this? And it was very interesting because you told him, leave everything, left your job if you are not satisfied, left your family if you have problems, and live with me alone.
I didn't say that, no,
Really?
no.
If I get it wrong, I can change my question.
No, I will correct.
Okay.
Нет, я отвечу на вопрос.
The thing is, people are always complaining about their jobs, about their family, husband, wife, mother-in-law, children, neighbors. So I tell them, you come and stay here if you wish. It's not for a specific person, for anybody. I'm saying, you come and stay in the yoga center, in our center. We will give you food for life and shelter, nice place to live, good food to eat. Only thing is, I will do random checks on you. When I check, you must be joyful. If I find you miserable, I don't believe in feeding misery, so we'll stop food on you. Okay? Nothing, just sit in your room and just be joyful. Nothing to do, no work to do, no bills to pay, no wife to handle, no husband to handle, nothing. Just be joyful. You leave them in one place for 24 hours, they go crazy. So, when you're alone, if you're miserable, obviously you're in bad company, isn't it? In Russia, do you have mother-in-law problems?
В России есть проблемы с тещами?
Of course. It's traditional jokes everywhere,
Okay.
Sadhguru.
So,
Да, это традиционные шутки везде у
it's
нас.
not your mother-in-law, it's not your husband, it's not your wife, it's not your boss. Fundamentally, even if you're alone, you make yourself miserable. So, where is the cause? For all your problems of misery, whatever experience of life, in is the only way out. Unless you fix this one, your life will never be good. If I fix you, when I'm with you, it's nice, otherwise I'm anyway miserable. If I fix this one, wherever I am, I'm fine. This is what inner engineering is about. That you engineer yourself the way you want yourself to be. Once this one person is fixed, wherever you're in the world, with whoever you are, with whoever you're not, you're fine. This one thing every human being must do in your life, that you are not the issue in your life. There are 1,000 issues outside to handle, but I'm not the issue. This must happen. If you yourself are an issue, your own thought and emotion is such a big issue, how will you handle anything in the world? Most human beings, their intelligence, their capability, their genius is all wasted simply because of their own psychological drama going on endlessly, and a badly directed drama.
If we talk about yoga, it's interesting part of conversation because yoga become very popular in all world, yoga centers, and people trying to take this knowledge like some base for their changes.
They think if they sit on a yoga mat, they'll fly.
Of course. That's what beginners think, always. And the question is, can yoga improve athletes' results? It's about
Definitely.
flying too.
We have worked with some top athletes in India as sports people, and it's produced wonderful results. See, the way to look at it is like this. Yoga means the mechanics of human mechanism, understanding and operating human mechanism as you wish. This will be very distinctly visible in the case of a sports person. It benefits every human being, but they may not notice it so distinctly. But in the life of a sports person, it's very distinctly visible because even a slightest malfunction of anything will immediately result in failure for them. So, a lot can be done, a lot can be done for the sports persons. I don't think the right kind of yoga has reached the sporting world yet. Today we are doing a little bit of work. Probably in the coming year we will be working with a few top golfers in the world. Right now we are working with Indian forces, with the army, with the paramilitary forces, large scale, we're teaching them. Some of the paramilitary forces have taken away their normal exercise regimen, and there is a dimension of yoga which is called as Angamardana, which literally translates as killing of the limbs. That means if you sit here, you don't even know whether you have a body or not. That kind of freedom from the body, that would be a phenomenal thing for the sports person. We have not done serious work with sports people, with few people we have done, but if we work with the whole team, it'll make a huge difference. We worked a little bit with the Everton football team in UK, and we've done something with individual sports people in India. But if we do with an entire team, if the Russian football team had come to me a year ago, maybe, I'm not saying yes, but maybe, we could have made them function at least 10 to 20% better than their natural way of performance. Possible to do it. We have worked with entire state governments in India, from the chief minister, all the ministers, bureaucrats, and they are performing better. If you can make the politicians and bureaucrats perform better, for sure you can make the sports people perform better.
Sadhguru, excuse me, but when you're saying that you work with bureaucrats, that you work with a lot of people and teaching them something, I can't ask you, is it difficult exercises? Maybe you can teach us something easy one that we can practically use in our lives.
See, the yogic systems are not a common prescription for everybody. For each individual, according to their present situation, accordingly it's taught. It's not like there's one common prescription, everybody, what we are teaching for the forces. We will not teach for the journalists, okay? Because it's a different level of fitness, it's a different level of capability. So, yoga is not a common prescription, it's always taught. And anyway, this idea that yoga means some physical exercise, this must go. This is not about… People ask me how many hours of yoga I do. I do 20 seconds a day. 20 seconds, not minutes, seconds. Okay, tick, 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 till here. Only 20 seconds a day. It'll work wonderfully well. For you, we will teach you 20 minutes a day.
What are you doing since these 20 seconds?
In 20 seconds, we just reorganize the whole energy. That's why it's a wonderful soup wherever I go.
In that case, I want to ask you next thing. How do you feel about healthy life? Do you share it? Do you consider it important and necessary to inform people of these rules of healthy life? How can we take into account your experience of giving large number of people guidance and take the road of self-improvement in terms of physical culture and mass sports?
There are various kinds of ailments in human life. There are infectious diseases, which is essentially an invasion by another organism upon our body, for which you have modern medicine and various other kinds of things. There is genetically transmitted diseases for which there are solutions. We can change the very nature of your DNA by doing certain things, which today there is scientific evidence that this can happen. There are other things which are caused by environmental causes, maybe chemicals in the atmosphere or the food that we eat and things like this, which need some amount of care, how we consume things and where we are. And today, unfortunately, a large number of diseases are lifestyle diseases. That is, we cause them to ourselves. These diseases have no business to be in human life because a human being is supposed to be a conscious life. It's not like any other life. This is a life, this is a peak of evolution on this planet. So, this is supposed to be a conscious life. If this is a conscious life, why would this create an ailment for itself? Obviously, we're living very unconsciously. So, with the yogic systems, infectious diseases, you must go to the doctor if you get an infection. There's no other way for that. They will chemically bomb it out, all right? Or there are other systems of medicine which are milder on your system. But the rest of the ailments can be handled from within. The genetically caused ailments and atmospheric things which cause certain things which we can always avoid consciously, and above all, lifestyle ailments. The very way we systems stand, we could be either creating health or ill health. That's how it is. Because this is the most sophisticated machine on the planet. It's very, very subtle. We could have made some experiment, but we'll do it another day, but I'm telling you, you can experiment at home. You will see, if you just hold your hands this way, you will be breathing one way. If you turn it around, your breath will change. That's how subtle it is.
Попробуем, потому что я
Let's
попробовала.
try.
Я скажу, что в чем была разница. Вот так
Start this
глубже.
way. If you hold it this way, if you place it on your thigh and hold it this way,
Если вы сделаете вот так, положите руки на колени,
you will notice that the maximum… If you close your eyes and breathe, you will see maximum expansion, contraction will be in the lower lobe of the lung. If you turn it around, it'll move to the middle lobe of the lung. If your eyes are closed and focused on the breath, you will notice it. So this is such a subtle machine that if you do this things will change in the very way you breathe, not just the breath. The very life energies change simply because you turn your hand around. How many times in a day unconsciously are you doing this? You're setting your energies into turmoil and hoping to be peaceful. This life doesn't work like that. Unless you do the right things will not happen to you. It's as simple as that.
Sadhguru, we are close to the World Cup FIFA, and I can't ask you.
I'm coming.
You are coming,
Yes.
really? Do you play football?
I used to play till a lot of injuries, now I shifted to golf.
Совсем скоро чемпионат мира по футболу ФИФА в России. Садхгуру собирается приехать. Вопрос, играете ли вы в футбол? Когда-то играл, но сейчас, к сожалению, замучили травмы, не могу, поэтому теперь играю только в гольф.
And are you fan? Do you have favorite team? Is it secret?
А есть какая-то любимая команда, вы вообще болельщик?
Today's the League of Champions.
Yeah, I know that.
Сегодня у нас финал Лиги Чемпионов. Да, я знаю.
If there is an international favorite,
Yeah.
Brazil, of course.
Но если говорить о международном фаворите этого турнира, то, конечно же, это сборная Бразилии.
In that case, I'm well aware that you are not particularly fond of making forecasts and predictions. I know this, Sadhguru, but I would love to know your thoughts of the Russian national team. Because our chances, what you think, are they high? And it's very important for us because we are waiting and expecting to see big show, and of course we wish a good luck to our team.
So, I don't want to make a prediction because one thing is I have not seen your team playing. We used to see them way back, but we have not seen them playing in any international arena, so I don't know how they're playing. I was just asking the driver who is driving me here, asked him who are the stars, and he did not know. He mentioned a retired player's name, so I thought their thing is low among the common people, which is not good. But I can tell them this much, they should not try to win the World Cup. There is no such thing. They must just try to kick the ball into the goal, that's all they must do. The problem is some people have the cup in their eyes, not the ball. No, you must have the ball in your eyes and kick it into the goal post. You just do that. Winning and losing is announced by somebody else, that's not the player's business. Player's business is to just get the ball into the goal as many times as possible, or all the time.
Sadhguru, thank you very much. As I mentioned, you have a very good sense of humor. Since it was a translation, you mentioned that the nice photographer, the young lady, looks like Ronaldinho. And I don't know, is it he…
You must just have the hairstyle, but you must smile like him.
Садхгуру, большое спасибо вам. Я говорила, что у вас прекрасное чувство юмора, и вы прокомментировали, что наша девушка-фотограф похожа на Рональдинho. Он говорит, что да, прическа такая же, нужно еще улыбаться, как он, и вообще будет идеально.
Thank you very much for your conversation. Thank you.
Большое спасибо за наш диалог.
Thank you very much. You're very good.
Good luck and hope to see you since the World Cup FIFA.
И будем надеяться, что увидим вас на чемпионате мира по футболу.